Now, normally I hand over to Shaun, or Shaun hands over to me at this point, but actually, do you know what, Shaun?
Yes.
We had to come here together, right? We're just a couple of boots down from where we started at Be My Eyes, and here we are at the Awarewolf Gear stand, and here I am with Blind Dave. How you doing?
Sedona Dave's in the house.
Sedona Dave is here.
Welcome to California. So great to have you over here.
Now listen, we've had you on the show already, of course, we've talked to you a number of times on the show, but this is the first time I've actually got my hands on your canes.
Nice.
This is the first time. I'm so pleased, right? Because
Well,
I have been talking about this the whole way here.
We both have, and that's why we're both here, because we both
Need canes.
We were fighting over who was going to do this interview, and we're both here.
It's amazing that you haven't even gotten your hands on these canes yet. Well, that's got to change. Let's change that right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's get it done.
So, first off, I mean, how's CSUN been for you? What kind of reaction are you getting from people here?
CSUN itself is an amazing opportunity to interface with my community, the blind low vision community. The first 2 years were great. We're announcing and presenting our canes to the public. This year is a little different. Our canes have been out on the streets and on the trails for a year or two. Now we're getting the feedback. I've had the cane for a year. I've been running on it with 6 months. I've been hiking with it. The feedback is coming in and it's off the rails. I'm so excited that it's meeting and exceeding the expectations of its users. It's keeping them safe and upright. The strength, the extendable grip, it's blowing us all out of the water, and I couldn't be happier. Hearing the people's complaints, the ball tip is scuffed a little bit. Like, if that's what we're complaining about, we're doing good. So I couldn't be happier, guys. I could not be happier about how they're performing on the streets and how they're being received warmly, with appreciation, with it's about time.
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to lean on our canes, but darn it, it's about time. So
Yeah.
And we all do.
most of us.
I certainly do. Yeah, I know you do. I know. Look, I have to say as well that we've heard some feedback as well. We all get feedback. We get feedback into the show. Some people happy, some people not so happy. What are you doing with that feedback? I mean, obviously you're taking that into consideration for, I guess, Cane 2, the Urban Explorer 2, and so on, right?
Thomas Edison must have been an insomniac. Because I hear people say, this is great, but have you ever thought about introducing a no jab component? Have you ever thought about a carbide tip? Have you ever thought about different colors? And every time they come up with, have you ever thought about, I'm damned to thinking about it. It's like, don't think about purple elephants. What else are you going to think about?
Yeah.
So, of course, every suggestion goes into my brain. Unfortunately, it stays there until I do something with it, roll it around, come up with a solution. But all in all, these ideas are getting us in a better position, perfecting the cane, tweaking it so that I'm supplying what others need. A carbide tip for ice might not be good for ambulating, but for that ice experience, it's very important. We've got the all-terrain cane, a super supportive mobility cane. Let's make it usable for all conditions, ice, snow. I've never stopped inventing or creating or coming up with solutions, problem solving. Really, that's maybe I'm like a savant problem solver and I didn't know it, but that's what's emerging in my world is, how do I tend to the needs of my community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a thrill. What a thrill.
Yeah.
But at some point, you do get a lot of feedback. At some point, you must say, okay, let's try and think what I am going to carry on to the next one. Because otherwise, like you say, you'll never stop. So, is there anything? Have you got something in mind, even if you're not sharing it with us today? Have you got something in mind for the next major update?
I do. Constantly working on materials, improving materials, high performance materials. So I am working on Project X.
Oh.
Which will be revealed in a few months.
I like that name. It's very good.
Project
X is good.
I'm so original, right?
Project X.
Agent X.
So I've got the Urban Explorer in my hand right now. You've
Yes.
just given me in my hand. This is a really nice cane. Now I've heard some people say it's quite heavy. I don't find that. I mean, I've used Ambutech, I've used the Revolution canes, the graphite canes. It's got heft to it, but it's clearly built well. It's built to be battered about, right?
You'll be amazed at what I'm about to tell you about the heft and weight of that. This is an extra large Urban Explorer from 58 to 64 inch. From 56 to 62 inches in length. A 62-inch competitor's cane weighs the same or more. The reason why I believe we're feeling it weigh more or be more hefty is its rigidity. When you swing it, it doesn't have that little flex that a fiberglass cane would have.
Yeah.
And because it's rigid, I'm wondering if that is translated into it weighs more. But you put it on a scale, a blind scale, and they weigh the same.
I mean, I'm actually moving it right now as I'm talking, and as I move it from left to right, I roll. I don't do 2-point touch, so I roll. I like to roll, Dave. So
roll with it.
It's also a very lazy way of doing it.
Yes.
But as I'm moving, it's feeling that the weight is in the base, which is kind of where I need it to be, because that's what I need to be connected to the ground for feedback.
Right. And it's a really good point, because these dome tips are more or less a solid block of material.
Yeah, these are rollers as well. That's going to surprise me. You'd never experienced that before.
No, exactly. And I've only ever used a roller ball on my cane before, so I was a little bit worried about what the tip was going to be like. But it's very familiar. I feel very comfortable with this dome tip.
It is. It's a smooth running tip, and for the urban experience, where we experience cracks in the sidewalk, cobblestones, the smaller tripping hazards, that dome tip, the shape of the dome tip really does help reduce jab.
It's actually a shame in a way we need this, because the state of our roads, the state of our sidewalks is so bad that we really do need something with more rigidity to it to be able to handle it. It's like, I guess cars are probably built with the shock absorbers and all the things in them so that they don't fall apart when they go over all the potholes.
Exactly, and you're hitting on some really important points of what's needed as far as tips go. What's our condition? I know you've got an awful lot of cobblestone streets over in England. A marshmallow tip on cobblestone streets, it's got to be an epic fail. The cracks are too big. It just won't work. And as much as we want to design the most awesome tips in the world, there are just basics of physics that, this isn't going to fly on this street. So modify the tip, make the tips as lightweight and as effective as possible.
Yeah.
But in the end, if this tip is just too small for the terrain, get a bigger tip. Ultimately, we'll dial it in so that we have the right combination of cane and tip to meet our individual needs. And for me, in Sedona, I'm running with an extra large Urban Explorer with a 2-inch rolling ball at the end. Modified hook-style rolling ball.
Wow.
And it's perfect because when Otto, our golden retriever, wants to hike back on our walks instead of the streets, I'm set. I don't have to worry. I don't have the right cane. The Urban Explorer with a ball tip crushes the trails. Just as super strong, supportive, confidence. I don't have to worry if I plant it, if I'm falling over, it's got me. So let's make sure we have the right tips on the right canes, and our lives are livable.
Yeah.
Go to the beaches, be successful where we want to be. That's what I'm all about.
Well, it's always good to talk to you. We've talked a few times. It's lovely to meet you in person, Dave.
Indeed.
Finally.
You guys are awesome. So great to meet you in person.
Well, listen, thank you so much. And awarewolfgear.com, yeah?
You are correct. AWAREWOLFGEAR.com.
Fantastic, Dave. Thank you so much.
You guys are crushing it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.